This video is about how to draw a nose. This nose will have a slightly more rounded tip, maybe slightly wider. I do have another video that's for a narrower or a more pointy nose, so have a look at that as well. For this nose, I've started off by drawing a circle, and that will kind of form the basis of the end of the nose and maybe influence the highlight later on. And you can see I'm kind of blocking out lines that will later become nostrils and the edge of the nose. You can see that I'm blocking in the eyes. I just find that works in regard to getting the proportions correct. Once the guidelines and shapes have been blocked in, you can see that I've marked in the side of the nostrils and the actual nostril holes themselves, as well as the bridge of the nose. The light lines up the middle of the nose and the circle, in fact most of the lines here will be rubbed out later on, so you really need to make sure that you don't lean too hard. We don't need the guidelines anymore, so I'm rubbing them out. And the end of the nose doesn't need to be a perfect circle. The circle was just to make sure that I had a more rounded end to the nose. With this nose, I've started using circular shading at the end of the nose to begin with, and I've added a bit of shading to the side of the nose. Some of your lines can be incorporated into the shadows, but if you're using midtones or highlights, you're probably going to need to actually rub out the lines as you go. You need to look at the shape that the shadows and the highlights make on the nose that you're drawing to ensure the nose is drawn correctly so that it looks 3D and it looks realistic when it's finished. Soft directional shading can also be used to make the nose look more 3D. You need to ensure that you add shadows in the nostrils or it's going to look very strange. You don't have lights up your nose, therefore there's no way that inside the nostrils could be light, so you need to make sure that you build up the shadows so that it looks realistic. You can see that the side of the nose is suggested by shadows and highlights, not lines. That is very, very important. You do not have lines drawn down the side of your nose. You can also see that I'm adding tone underneath the nose where the philtrum is, and I'm also adding some tone around the edges of the eyes, the edge of the eye socket, because then that makes it clear that the bridge of your nose is higher. Once we've got basic tone, like basic shadows and highlights blocked in, you can see that I'm starting to build up more contrast. So that's more difference between the light and dark on the nose. That's going to make it look 3D. Remember, nose is sticking out of the face, so it is going to have shadows underneath and highlights on top. You can add highlights back in with an eraser. So like the corner of an eraser or one of the little erasers that you get at the end of a pencil, they're always very useful. There you have it, that's how you draw a nose. This nose was slightly more round. As I said, I do have another video for a nose that's slightly more pointy. Similar methods apply to both types of nose. Obviously your nose might be a combination of the two, so please make sure you watch the other video as well. Thank you, and I hope that helped.